Well, the Bill of Rights is a stumbling block on the way to shutting down speech that the left doesn't like, at least in government. But there's a new avenue for those who would like to censor what you say and think, and that's corporations. The left have wised up to this. If you want to stop someone from telling the truth, use companies to do it, the social media giants, and they are. So far, the most prominent casualty of the crusade against free expression has been the radio show host Alex Jones. But are we smart to think censorship will stop with him?
Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to all of our loyal subscribers in the tribe. You are our community. We could not do this without you, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts once again for stopping by and giving us all of your wonderful, wonderful support. If this is your first time watching, we want to welcome you. Watch through to the end. Let us know what you think in the comment section below, whether that be positive or negative. All we ask is that the only way we're going to make Free Thought great again is by being willing to have the conversation, and all we ask is that you contribute to that conversation. Now, without further ado, we want to go ahead and talk today about internet censorship and its latent proliferation in our world today. As we've seen and as we've heard in the mainstream media, we've heard of several accounts of high-profile conservatives mainly getting their social media accounts shut down or restricted or banned. And that really does establish a dark precedent for free thought and for the ability to be able to express your thoughts no matter how contradictory they may be. That's one of the rights that we actually enjoy as Americans, is the right to free speech. That was one of the most important rights that people were seeking for when they first came to found this country. And what's distressing is to see that now the same things that made us want to leave the United Kingdom and England in the past have come to our homeland. And it actually just happened to me just recently. So actually last week I posted a picture about Brett Kavanaugh. What I said was, you know what? This is such a tragically dark day in America. After watching the Kavanaugh hearings today and seeing this utterly shameless Democratic ploy to destroy the name and life of a good man and that of his family based on uncorroborated allegations, I'm done. I'm fed up. The left's gloves are off, but so are mine. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. Well, guess what? I'm doing something. The Democrats must never regain power if this is the depth to which they're willing to stoop in order to obstruct my president at every turn. Try to take my hat, I dare you. Try to intimidate me, I dare you. Try to stop me from my views, I dare you. Call me a sellout, Uncle Tom, coon, house, expletive. I do not care. Y'all want to fight? You got one. It's time for patriots to stand up. The time for retaliation is nigh, and we have to hold the line on Election Day in November. Stand up, rise up, organize, vote. If you don't, you could be the next to have your character ruthlessly assassinated. I, for one, will no longer stand idly by and watch it happen. So that post is somewhat innocuous at face value, but what I was surprised to see was that actually not more than 48 hours after posting that, I'd received about 800 likes on Instagram for that. I opened Instagram and I was greeted with the following message. And it really took me aback at first because it was something I was not expecting, because my post, I didn't intend to offend anyone. But what the feedback I got from Instagram was as follows. Your post has been deleted. We removed your post because it doesn't follow our community guidelines on hate speech or symbols. If you violate our guidelines again, your account may be restricted or disabled. And so what we see there is that basically they said that my post violated hate speech. And if you are familiar with this channel, you've seen our love letters from the left episodes where we talk about the hate that we receive, sometimes even from Instagram, of people hurling racial epithets and racial slurs and everything. But we don't see any action taken on that. We saw action taken specifically against this. It establishes a dark and insidious precedent. And for more on that, I want to turn the floor over to Eddie now.
Well, yeah, and I shared your surprise in seeing that the post was taken down in such an unceremonious manner, and it's kind of one of those things where you almost always assume that it's going to happen to somebody else and not to you, maybe to someone with a higher profile. And recently we saw an example of this. I guess the highest profile name that got banned across social media recently was Alex Jones. And now, full disclosure, I am not a Alex Jones fan. I've never been a fan of his brand of braggadocio or the way he chooses to impart his message. But he does have a niche, and there were issues that people could have with him. I think the biggest thing was his handling of the Sandy Hook story and kind of making some fabrications along those lines. Be that as it may, he's kind of a harmless, out of the way, very over the top type public figure, and we'd seen other people with channels like that, in the past. One of the most famous YouTubers goes by PewDiePie, and he uttered the N-word and meant it as a pejorative on his channel, and he faced some backlash for that, but wasn't unilaterally banned. And what we saw was within, I believe it was a 48 to 72 hour period, all of Alex Jones's social media, from Facebook to Twitter was the last one. They lagged behind, but every social media presence that he had was banned almost simultaneously. And what that did, and like I said, I don't have any love for Alex Jones personally, but what that did was really bring home that there is an oligarchy of sorts at the top of the social media food chain, and that oligarchy leans overwhelmingly to the left side of the aisle. And now there are a couple ways to react to this. Obviously, the treatment that Damani's post got was unfair, especially in light of the type of vitriol that we receive back from Instagram and from other platforms that for some reason does not violate community guidelines. But it's not so much that we believe that there should be a even playing field that's mandated, because these are companies that are free to run themselves as they see fit. The problem is when they cast themselves as purveyors of a free-flowing informative platform, and to not follow through on that by then allowing speech that maybe they disagree with but actually does not go against their community guidelines, while turning a blind eye to speech that does go against their stated guidelines but for some reason is allowed to remain because it attacks a side of the aisle that they don't like. That is what we have issue with. We all only want a fair application of the guidelines across the board, and I think that's all that anybody should want and ask for of a company that tries to portray themselves as such. For example, we on this channel, we admit that we are biased. It's in the name. We're the Wright brothers. We realize that most of our views are going to come down on the right side of the aisle. That doesn't mean that we're going to actively suppress other voices, but at the same time, you understand where we're coming from. We don't pretend to be unbiased. These platforms have chosen to pretend to be unbiased and publish themselves as such, and then to not follow through on that, it's highly disingenuous. So I could ramble on about this for days, Damani. We know you were wronged. How do you suggest that people combat this going forward and really find a way to make their voices heard? Because let's face it, there's not going to be another social media platform that props up with the clout to take on the Facebooks and the Twitters of the world anytime soon.
Well, we look at social media. One of the things that we have to remain cognizant of is the book burning days of old, back during World War II. Mm-hmm. We also have to be aware of is that if people choose to ban you, that in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It actually, I take it as a compliment, because it means that people not only are listening, but it possibly means that they are threatened or intimidated by the message that you choose to share. So continue sharing those messages. It doesn't matter if you get deleted or whatever. It means that people are listening to you, and it means you're having an impact. So keep it up. And at the risk of being too prolixous with this video, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up now. We know it's a short video. We try to be as brief as possible. We know it's hard, but we know y'all have things to do as well. So we want to thank y'all for giving us this time. Check out our Facebook page to engage with us on an even deeper level. We have some exciting announcements that we're going to share with you. We are going live there now, so stay tuned with us there. We appreciate y'all's time. Let us know your thoughts about censorship in the comment section down below. It's happening. It's real. And the only thing that's going to make free thought great again is by being willing to have these uncomfortable conversations. So I want to thank you for taking this time with us once again. We appreciate y'all from the bottom of our hearts. And without further ado, thanks and gig 'em.
Thanks and gig 'em.
The first revolution is when you change your mind about how you look at things and see that there might be another way to look at it that you have not been shown. The revolution will not be televised, and be no rerun, brothers and sisters. The revolution will be live.